Hi, welcome to Wrinkles Society of Hope. If this is your first time, welcome. And those that are returning, thank you so much for continuing to follow. Today, you are going to hear a courageous woman come to share her story about the wrinkles that she had to press through in life. Now, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can continue to hear the stories, and also hit subscribe and share our YouTube channel so that some other woman can be motivated and encouraged by the stories that come. I am so excited that you are here, and I hope to hear from you soon. Have a great day. Family, guess what? This is my first interview internationally. So I am excited that this beautiful woman has come and decided to do an interview with me. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you all where she is located.
Oh, hello everyone. Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Summer. This is quite exciting. First one for 2022. I live in Launceston, Tasmania, Australia. So I'm right down near Antarctica. We're the last little bit of land before Antarctica in the world.
I'm excited. And I got to come visit now.
It's very beautiful. I just saw, I have this hoodie on. My artist gave it to me because see, it's got little bears all over it. So if I stand up, I'll show your listeners. Yeah. So here are little bears. Because in the trauma work, I help people recover from trauma. And in the trauma work I do, if you have a soft, cuddly toy or a blanket or a pillow, then it helps you individuate from the person and the trauma. So we often get people to touch something soft and it helps them self-regulate. So I have this little bear soft toy. It's really beautiful and soft. So when I'm with a client, I just hug them like this. Just imagine this little teddy bear this little panda is hugging you.
Oh, I can imagine because it looks so comfy.
Yeah, it is. It's gorgeous. I have to remember to get out of it. Yesterday I was watching the rowing outside of my house, and I live on the like marina. And my school was rowing outside, and I walked out in this, and I went, "Oh well, never mind."
Like I'm just gonna come as I go. Come as I go. Yeah, exactly. And your beautiful face just is pure and without wrinkle. But if you would get a physical wrinkle, how do you think that would feel? How would you feel about that?
Me, scared and afraid, and wondering if my life has really changed or whether I'm going back into the old system of life, the old ways of life, the patterning, the learned conditioning that I learned as a kid.
I love that. And it's something that we do go through different transitions in life, and sometimes our physical changes happen to have us transition through, but we also go through some wrinkles emotionally that transition us through life. Can you tell about emotional wrinkle that you had to press through?
Yeah, sure. So one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life is to trust me and to believe in me, because I had a childhood of systematic abuse. So I was given away at birth, and then I had 3 mothers by the time I was 11 months old, and then advertised in the paper to give away. And then from the ages of 3 to 15 and a half, 16, I had continual sexual abuse, sometimes by a number of people at the same time. So when I would say to my foster father or some other men, no, I don't want to do that, they would overpower me and give me reasons why I should. And it was always that grooming or that, telling lies to me, making promises that didn't come true. That's what I believed in, rather than trusting my own intuition, my own gut to tell me, no, this is the wrong thing to do. So that was a real huge wrinkle. Sometimes I'm still overcoming. Last week in my position, what I do for work, I noticed I was shaking. And I thought, gee, why am I shaking?
Yeah.
And I realized I was putting my ideas out there, and I was so scared they were going to get knocked on the head again. So I still walk forward doing my touching and my yawning and all the things I know what to do now. I still walk forward, but sometimes that little wrinkle comes up and I need to iron it out again. That's all.
Wow. And that's something that a lot of people have been through, some of these things. But I always say that everyone's walk and journey is personal.
Yeah.
How did you how did you press through it? I mean, how do you get through that now? Like you said, you're still having some of that trauma come up. How do you get through it?
I did 12 years of psychotherapy, and 8 of those years was 5 days a week. But I didn't see advancement. In fact, I just kept going round in circles. And so I did a lot of searching, both within myself and around the world, for something that actually worked. And what I've come across is a mindfulness neuro coaching, which teaches you how to take the energy out of your memories. So what happens is, when you have a traumatic memory that comes up, it's been triggered by something. And so what I'm now trained to do is to help women and men take out the emotional energy out of the memory. So what happens is, when we get triggered, our brain is activated by the emotion, because it's the emotion that gets triggered. But then the brain activity, we know from brain scans now, that the brain stops activating the trigger immediately the emotion has been activated, triggered, and the cortisol has dropped. The rest of our behavior is learned conditioning. We can actually stop that immediately. For example, I'll give you a really live example. This was so fruitful for me to see. The day I learnt this, what I'm sharing now with your listeners, the day I learnt it, I was going on a plane and I slept and overslept the alarm by an hour to get to the plane, and I still hadn't packed. So could you imagine? Here I am screaming and shouting and how bad I am and abusing myself. And, I was off the planet with my anger at myself. And then I get in the car. I finally put some stuff in. Then I get in the car. I'm driving down the highway to the airport. And I believe in God. No one else needs to, but I do. And I'm screaming and shouting at God. I used to be emotionally intelligent before I learned this new neuroscience. What's going on? And all of a sudden I just heard these words, "You can stop." And I went, oh, I can too. And without a word of a lie, Summer, I was holding the steering wheel, and all of a sudden the heat around me just went down.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my God, it's true. I can stop. I got to the airport and I accidentally put my handbag in the boot, which meant I couldn't get my credit card to put in the car park, which was going to make me later. Now, ordinarily, the whole world would have heard me, and I would have been screaming and shouting, got out of the boot, slammed the door, get in the boot, And I just went, oh, damn, it's in the... And I got out, I got my bag, and I was consciously aware of how calm I was. Got my credit card, put it back in the boot, got in, did the thing, went to it, and I was so... Where I had to park was so way away from the terminal. And I'm thinking, oh man, I might as well just go back home. No, just try. So I got my bag out. I didn't yank them out. I got them out of the boot, closed the boot, locked everything up, walked to the terminal. I got inside, of course, no one's there because it's so late. And this man said, down the escalator, you need to go. I walked, didn't run, got downstairs, and I said to them, I'm sorry, I'm really late for my plane. And they said, yeah, just go over there to the gate. I just walked through the people, just sat calmly. She told me where to wait. I did it. And I'm sitting there going, I can't believe this new human being. Whew. And I was going to a conference to lead a workshop on how this neuroscience mindfulness works. And I had so much proof it wasn't funny. I was the calmest I've ever been. It was just amazing. So that's what I teach people. I have written a whole course that I'm delivering that teaches a person how to self-regulate doing all these techniques. So I've got 11 strategies under 60 seconds. Doesn't take long. And then I have a thing. We walk through like I'm going to laugh at this, a crap board. So it's crap stands for conflicts, resistances, anxieties, and problems. And you just do a brain dump. And you just look at, okay, are these real? Because sometimes what we do is we worry about things that aren't real.
Yes.
So I just get them to do that. And all of a sudden, like they can relax because all the overwhelm's gone. I've released it from their network that's been keeping them going round and round and round, this imagination network that we have in our brain. So, so that's what I do. And then I take people through their traumatic memories, their learned conditioning, the intergenerational heritage in their DNA, because I don't know if you know, but if there's a negative event in a previous generation, it changes the DNA. And sometimes you can feel unrelaxed or you can feel icky, but you don't know why.
Yeah.
And you sort of look and go, there's nothing troubling me. Why am I feeling like this? Sometimes that can just be a DNA issue. I had a woman who she came from Barbados, and we went back 300 years, and her family came out, they were slaves on the boat, and we were able to work through that. She's now flying. She's got her own business. She's on television. She's this, she's that. Wow, it's just amazing. I have another client in England who he's a graphic artist, just started his own business. And he couldn't work out why he just kept going round and round in circles with his business. And what we found out was when he was a little child, a little boy, like not even walking yet, his mum and dad were going out to dinner. And he was sitting this side of the door, and the babysitter was there. His parents weren't abandoning him. And but he could remember being so upset that they weren't coming back, because he didn't know they were coming back. A child can't think like that. They don't know, oh, mum and dad's going out to dinner, they're going to come back. They don't have that trust, that brain network working yet that they can do that. So he was just full of abandonment. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. They're going. They've left me. I'm sitting here alone. Mum and dad's abandoned me. Now, they did come back a couple of hours later, but that's how a child grows. When our parents leave us as children, we don't know they're coming back. Our brain doesn't know that yet.
Yeah.
We haven't got that learned conditioning. And it's through them coming back that the child learns how to trust the parent. So there was this one image of himself internally that he hadn't been able to process yet, because the emotional energy, the stronger the emotion, the stronger it stays with you. So we cleared that. He's never been back. He's off and running his own business and having a great old time. Only needed one session. Just cleared the energy. He's gone.
Wow.
Just amazing.
Wow. It's making that adjustment, right? Just making that adjustment in your life to continue to get through that part to go to the next step in your life. What would you tell yourself if you look back when you first started therapy? What advice would you give yourself?
Oh, can't say it publicly. Uh, I would, the advice I would do without putting or negating anyone else is go and find a neurocoach who can do these things so that I can get help quicker.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, I didn't want to play an us and them game then, like I'm the best and they're not. But
Yeah.
what I would say is neurocoaching works. Sorry, can I just say brain network neurocoaching works? So I know in Australia we have a lot of people calling themselves neurocoaches, and we have a neurocoaching academy, but it's not what I do. It's that's like NLP things, which I've been trained in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I found neurocoaching working with neuroscience, relaxed mindful awareness, and brain network theory. That for me is the key, because you're teaching your brain how to love yourself,
Mm-hmm.
not listen to the experiences of the past. Because quite, um, humanly normal, we end up living our lives having a relationship with the past
Yeah.
instead of being in the present and having our relationship with who we are now. And
Mm-hmm.
then we can enjoy people, experiences, life, whatever we generate for ourselves can come from a place of healthiness
Yeah.
and healing and growth and empowerment rather than the relationship with the events of the past.
I love that. It's so true. So there is a difference because, like you said, your brain is powerful anyway, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget that. You think a certain way, or you don't deal with the things or your thoughts or your emotions. It affects you
Mm.
physically, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people
Absolutely.
don't know that. A lot of people don't
No,
connect that sometimes. It's like, oh, I feel crappy all the time. I feel this way or that way. But yeah, your brain and your emotions is moving over to your physical.
exactly. I have a condition called polymyalgia, which I
Mm.
know is a common condition for women. And I found that when I get the pain, the attachment of my pain is to self-rejection. So I
Mm.
look at where I'm self-rejecting.
Mhm.
The pain will come up and I'll go, okay, what decision I've made that I've ignored me and my values and how I want to live, and I'll invariably find it, and then I'll adjust it and the pain will go away. Now, I'm not saying that's true for everyone, but I know that's true for me.
Yeah.
I've noticed that my polymyalgia hits really bad when I'm self-rejecting myself.
I'm so glad you said that because how often as women we ignore
Yes,
ourselves.
exactly. And what will make you happy? And look, I don't mind. I mean, I live to make people happy, but at the end of the day, I have to know what makes me happy, and then we can make an informed choice.
Yes.
Okay, am I going to look after my own value system here, or am I going to walk across that boundary and help someone else for the moment? I don't know if you know Stormy Wellington, but I love her. She talks about seed in the soil.
Mm.
What is the soil around you, and how does it help you grow? And she talks about when someone needs you to be something, go and help them, but make sure they're not your inner circle soil, so that you've still got the people around you that can help you grow and you don't get caught in that old drama system that will keep you bound to the past.
Whew, I love that. Yeah, that's powerful. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to look that one up because that is so. I mean, that's why I have sunflowers as a representative for Wrinkles because sunflowers have that strong stem,
Yeah.
with that delicate petals, but they continue to blossom, they continue to grow even through everything that it has to go through, and that's how we have to be as women, as
Exactly.
individuals
Yeah.
entirely.
I
Wow.
think it's really great you've got sunflowers, because they used to be I had one on my phone. I worked in a refugee camp in Thailand. I worked with refugees for about 10 to 12 years. And on top of Singapore airport is a big sunflower garden. And so I used to go up there and get my right feelings and get that engagement with my own soul brought, that sunflowers bring me, so I could then go over and minister to them.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
powerful.
so they have a real special place in my life too.
Well, all that you've been through so much things and helping others and helping yourself, not ignore yourself. And you got a t-shirt made today. What would that t-shirt say as a representation of who you are today?
Wow. I'd have to say, I love me. I love me.
Yeah.
Wow. It's taken me a long time to say that.
Oh, that touched me.
Yeah, that's the first time I've been able to say that with depth. You know, when you say it, like there's a coach I had earlier on who told me to stand in front of the mirror and say, I love me 5 times a day. I couldn't do it. It brought up so much hatred and anger. But you know, today, in who I am now, I can actually say, I love me. I really, truly do.
That's a beautiful shirt. That's a beautiful shirt. It really is. And I'm so blessed to been connected with you through Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly did a mindfulness training for us a couple months ago, and she's done a Wrinkle interview. But tell us more what you're doing in Australia in the community. What are your services and how people can connect with you to get help with their emotions and the things and their strengths that they need? How can they connect with you?
Okay, so I have a program called Powerful Beyond Measure, and I named it that for a reason. I really believe in abundant life,
Mm.
and I don't think you can have abundant life until you know how to receive it and be it. And so I've designed a program that walks a person from self-regulation through their intergenerational stuff, through their, we live out roles in our families for survival. So all those things that we do to ourselves to help us survive because we don't like ourselves, I walk people through those healings and growth. And then I take them through emotional safety. Now, our emotions, we have primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Mm.
I take people through their primal emotions. So there's 7 of them: caring and emotional desire, care, playfulness, sadness and grief, fear, rage and anger, and lust and sexual desire. So what I do is give people an opportunity to feel when those emotions didn't serve them, and then when they did. I get them it helps them identify them then. And once their base emotions, their primal emotions are intact, then they can work on all the others. And then I take people through, we know it as Maslow's hierarchy of need.
Yeah.
And I go through people. Remember I told you that we have 5 brain networks. We have an acronym TIMES. So the T is the thinking network in the front.
Mm.
The I is the imagination network. The M is the motivation network, because if you don't have your motivation fired up, you won't do anything anyway. Your emotional network and your salience network. Now, the salience network sits at the back here, and it's your social values, all your values, your spirituality. It's the non-language area. So when I take people through Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I help them just do a brain dump of what their physiological needs are, what would motivate them to meet them, what emotions they'd be feeling if they did meet them, what values they would be living if they met them. Then using their creative imagination work, instead of being worried, I get them to create, how could you meet them? And then I use the thinking network in the front. The last stage is, now let's do some strategies and tactics on how you're going to meet them. So I take them through their physiological needs, their safety needs, their belonging needs, and their self-confidence needs, and then their self-actualization. I have 10 sets of values, just 20 minutes each, where they look at their personal values, their money values, their communication values, their sexual values, their work-related values, relationship values. identity values, personal values. And there's one I love, I only did this someone yesterday in the armed forces, situational context values. So as a once-off, we can have all these wonderful values, but life throws us curveballs sometimes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So what values are we going to live
Mm.
when that curveball comes? Because quite often we can have a lovely shaped life, but what happens when that curveball comes? Does it knock us off, or does it keep us steady and straight? Okay, we just have to slip into these now. So I sit and work with people on that. I had a guy going into a war conflict zone saying, can we work on if I see a gun at my head, or if I see someone about to shoot me? So not everyone, lives that sort of a life, but it just goes to prove how much, if we can look at our obstacles that might prevent us from living our best life,
Mm-hmm.
what can we do in the moment then becomes much more freer, and we don't go into freeze, flight, or fight because we've already worked on our values of how we're going to be in that moment.
That is amazing. That is amazing. That has to be so helpful for people dealing with trauma.
Yeah, it is. So I've worked in acute psychiatric hospitals, wards in hospitals. I've worked in the biggest, highest maximum security prison in the southern hemisphere. I've worked with refugees and with women and men coming out of sexual abuse. Any sort of trauma that has happened in our lives, and what might be trauma to one person might be different to another. But I've spent 45 years helping people come out of trauma. So hopefully I can help some of your people too.
Yes, yes. And how do they connect with you?
Oh, if they go onto Facebook and look up Leaders, Empowering Leaders, I'm in the minute of transitioning all my marketing. So because I've now got this course, I used to do little bits and little bits and little bits. So they can either go on and look for me, Grace Reynolds, or they can look up my business page, Leaders, Empowering Leaders.
Perfect.
And then they can find me.
Well, perfect. Well, as you see on the screen, those are the links directly connecting to her. So you can go right there and you can reach her there. Also on wrinklesocietyofhope.org, there will be a link there right under her picture, right under her description of her business, and she'll be able to help you there. So those are out, people are out here. A lot of us are out here that need help, and we all are saying that. And sometimes I'm okay, I can push through this. Well, those people that are blessed to have the knowledge and the talent to help us press through some of these wrinkles of our past and our present are here to help. So link up with her and see what she can do to help you. We know that our minds are powerful. So why not have someone help us deal with our mind? Right? So anything else you would like to add?
I would just like to say have a good day to all your listeners and watchers and followers. And I got to tell you, Summer, I am so blessed to know you and to know about you and what you're doing for women around the world, because there aren't many places like this where women can truly be themselves. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I am so excited and I can't wait to come and visit.
Okay, please do. I look forward to hosting you.
Awesome. Bye, Wrinkles.
Bye.